It's WWE draft time once again, as superstars from Raw and SmackDown are given a new t-shirt and told to come to the Thunderdome on a different day. But it's not just the annual admin that leaves our heads scratching this year. This is Raw Graded. Randall Keith out to start. He says he's actually the first person to pin Drew McIntyre in over a year as of last week. Well done, you. He promises to deliver an RKO, but he's cut off by Drew McIntyre, who heads out to the ring saying that he promised to beat Randy Orton up every time they're in the same building together. And he's not one to go back on a promise. They brawl around the ring, and just as Drew gets the upper hand, Randy takes a powder and he's away. Action-packed way to start Raw, giving this a B+. Good words by Orton, good scrapping by Drew. By the way, Drew, don't wear a blue t-shirt on draft day. Sends the wrong impression. Stephanie McMahon is out for the first time of the night for round 1 of the draft night 2. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton and Charlotte Flair are on Monday Night Raw, whilst Bayley and the Street Profits head over to Friday Night SmackDown. The tag champs from Raw on SmackDown, and the SmackDown tag champs on Raw. I wonder what will happen. Kevin Owens and Alistair Black face off in a no DQ match next. Kev and Alistair scrapping all around the ring to get us underway, and Alistair Black throws Kev through the announce table before we go to break. We get a whole load of plunder thrown into the ring. Multiple chairs in the ring from Alistair Black. Kev uses one of them to DDT Alistair Black, and Alistair Black uses the rest to hit a top rope meteora onto Kevin Owens through. Black buggers up a black mass, ends up kicking the steel post, you silly Billy. Back in the ring, Owens hits a stunner and a pop-up powerbomb through a table for the 1, 2, 3. B+ for this no DQ match. Great action-packed way to start Raw so far. What with Drew and Orton fighting, and these two clattering each other. This very much feels like the end for Kev and Alistair. Round 2 of the draft sees Braun Strowman, Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy heading over to Raw, and sees Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens on SmackDown. Okay, so they're gonna do Braun and Drew, aren't they? They're gonna do Braun and Drew. That's happening. Yay, I'm so excited. And I just can't hide it. Miz TV on Monday Night Raw. Now, I've seen a little bit of Miz and Morrison because it's down to Sam to watch SmackDown, so I don't watch it week by week. So, getting a glimpse of them here on Raw, and I know they've got good bands together, but this feels a little bit heavily scripted, doesn't it? It's just like these contrived gags about, you know, catchphrases and stuff like that. It just felt a bit weird. Miz hints that it was him that got Otis and Tucker split up in the draft due to his stroke with the network. And then they bring out their guests, the new tag team of Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, who I will call for the rest of this review Dandy. And maybe for the rest of time. Miz says that Mandy should be thanking him for splitting up her and Otis, at least geographically. And Mandy says, nah, I'm going to slap you. I'd rather slap you in the face. Woohoo. Miz tries to plant some seeds between Dandy, with them both being in the main event battle royal to determine the top contender for the Raw Women's title, but they're not having it. This brings out Natalya and Lana, who say they should have been on Miz TV. Lana's been married twice. She's got the tea she wants to spill. There's some jokes made about TikTok from Dandy. They end up fighting. We go to break, and when we come back, they're gone. And Miz hints that there's a tag match between them later on. Miz then starts interviewing John Morrison. Cue more slightly cringy dialogue between these two. Out comes Lars Sullivan, who clatters John Morrison whilst the Miz heads out of the ring. Miz doesn't really want to get in there to help Morrison, so Morrison just takes a shoeing at the hands of Lars to end this segment. I'm giving it a C. I don't mind Miz and Morrison. I feel like I've done them a little bit of a disservice here, but this just some of the stuff they were saying just felt a bit cringe. It just felt a bit scripted. I feel like if you let them off the chain a little bit, they'll have a bit more fun. And then the stuff between Natalya and Lana and Dandy, I could do without, but it is what it is. And then Lars came out, who I could do without. C's quite polite. Adam Pearce is backstage with the Street Profits and the New Day. He is there to watch over the swapping of the belts as the Raw Tag Team Championship belts held by the Street Profits are handed to the New Day, and the New Day, who are the SmackDown Tag Champs, hand to the Street Profits since they're now on different brands. Fun fact, the Raw Tag Team titles are the original SmackDown Tag Team titles. Bear with me on this. So the Raw Tag Team titles became exclusive to Raw in 2016. Before that, they were part of the Unified Tag Team titles, held by, originally won by the Clones in 2008. There's many of the champs since then. But those were the original SmackDown belts that the Clones had that go all the way back to 2002. The ones that were won by Kurt Angle and name redacted back in October of 2002. So the Raw belts are originally the SmackDown belts. Does that mean that the Raw belts are now the SmackDown belts again? The tag title history is a convoluted mess. Insert Zach Galifianakis meme here of all the numbers going around my head. But anyway, that's how they've got around that. The Raw belt's gone to SmackDown, the SmackDown belt's gone to Raw. We find out that Roode aren't very happy about this whole situation. They walk in, Street Profits and New Day are chatting, and by the end of this, we have a tag title match between the New Day and Roode and Ziggler later on tonight. New Day and the Street Profits express their desire for the smoke after this. I like seeing these four work together. This was cool. Round 12 of the draft. Keith Lee, Alexa Bliss, and Retribution are on Raw. Why would you draft Retribution? I'm baffled by the booking of Retribution. From day dot, I'm baffled by the booking of Retribution. With the exception of Ali, who I think is a great leader. He should have spoke this week. That's by the by. But why would you draft the team that have promised to gut your company? I just don't know. And on SmackDown, we've got Lars Sullivan and King Corbin sticking around. So that's how the draft shapes up so far. Seth Rollins heads out to say farewell to Monday Night Raw. He says nobody will fill his shoes as a leader. This brings out Jeff Hardy. Rollins finds the idea of Jeff as the leader hilarious, so he leaves. AJ Styles then makes his way to the ring, walks past Seth Rollins and makes some comment about how it was never Monday Night Rollins anyway. These two get into like a gassing fight by the ring. Here comes Jeff Hardy with a dive over the ring, wipes them both out and challenges them to a triple threat match there and then. Well, actually, he challenges them to a triple threat tag team match, but hey, look, we all make mistakes on live telly. It's fine. Rollins has a flurry before the break, taking out Styles and Hardy with multiple dives outside the ring. When we come back from break, Jeff is fighting back, hits a whisper in the wind on both of them, but seems to land wonky on his leg. I think he works through it, though. AJ goes for a Styles clash and gets a springboard knee to the face from Rollins. Rollins goes for the curb stomp, eats a DDT by Jeff Hardy, who springboards off of AJ Styles. Oh, this is just a really cool set of stuff going on. End of the match comes with Jeff Hardy going for a twist of fate on AJ, and kabong, Elias to the back of Jeff Hardy's head. Then AJ, because there's no DQ in a triple threat, AJ just looks up at Elias, confusingly makes the cover and gets the win in the match as Elias heads up the ring, up and up the ramp smiling. We find out later on that Elias is still blaming Jeff Hardy for running him down in his car on SmackDown about 1,000 years ago. And we find out next week we're getting a live concert from Elias to celebrate the release of his new album. Lovely stuff. As for the match, best match of the night, giving it an A-. They said on commentary, a pay-per-view quality match. And it, do you know what? Kind of was. Like, these guys really went for it. I'd love to see them on pay-per-view give this another 15 minutes as well as what they had. I thought they just fluid, worked so beautifully together. I love this. Next round of the draft, Elias, Lacey Evans and Sheamus are heading to Raw, while Sami Zayn and Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura are on SmackDown. Elias continuing his SmackDown feud on Raw. Are we seeing this a lot now? We certainly are. With Rollins heading off to SmackDown, where Ray and Dominic already are, with Jeff Hardy and Elias heading over to Raw, I feel like we're getting a swapping of feuds as well as a swapping of people. So I think Raw is going to feel more like SmackDown next week, the week. Yeah, it'll be next week, won't it? When everything gets sort of reset, it'll feel a bit like SmackDown, which will be great for us on Raw Graded, since we don't maybe watch SmackDown that much. That'd be cool. Dandy taking on Lana and Natalya next. Well-oiled unit are Lana and Natalya to get us started, but Mandy gets a hot tag, lights up the place, big running boot, a beautiful rolling clothesline, it looked quite nice from Mandy as well, and a diving senton off the top puts this paid fairly quickly. After the match, Natalya says she's done with Lana, storms off up the ramp and leaves Lana to her thoughts. C+ for this, it was fine, wasn't amazing, wasn't terrible. I think Lana's getting better as a wrestler. That's nice to see. I feel like Dandy needs a bit more meat on the bone when it comes to what they are. They just seem to be just like cookie cutter tag team at this point. I want to see, well, they'll get it. I know it's early days, but I want to see like these guys develop a bit more of a personality other than we're two people that hang out together, you know? Angel Garza takes on Andrade with Zelina Vega on commentary. It's apparently a managerial obligation that Zelina needs to be there, but she's just furious. Like, these guys could have been the best tag team ever, and they just let their ego get in the way. It's a scrappy grudge match that doesn't go very long. We see Andrade get his back cracked into the apron by Angel Garza. He follows it up with a wing clipper for the clean as a whistle. 1, 2, 3. Jeez, what a fall from grace for Andrade. No disrespect to Angel Garza, but like Andrade was the top of NXT, a while back. I thought this was going to be a breakout guy when he gets to the main roster. You'd think I'd know by now, wouldn't you? Angel Garza leaves. Vega gets into the ring to check on Andrade. The lights go out. Red lights come on. Flickering, screeching sounds. And there in the ring is Bray Wyatt, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, rather, and Alexa Bliss. They're doing that sort of backward spidery pose in different corners. And we get stereo Sister Abigail's on Andrade and Zelina Vega. Cool end to the segment. The match itself, just gonna give it's a B- for the segment overall, because the match was just there. Just felt a bit throwaway. I felt sad for Andrade. This felt like a bit of a washout for him. And I just enjoyed the bit with Fiend and Bliss united on Monday Night Raw. I mean, and again, like, because I don't watch SmackDown every week, I don't see much of this, so I'm excited. Round 62 of the draft, and it's Nikki Cross, R-Truth, and Dabba-Kato on Monday Night Raw, and it's Rudolph, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and Apollo Crews on SmackDown. Didn't Rudolph just come over to Raw like 10 minutes ago? Bless them. Hoping now that if Raw Underground has gone, well, underground, whether we see Dabba-Kato managed by Shane McMahon on the Raw roster. That'd be fine. That'd be fun. We could see Rudolph leaving with belts. They're challenging the New Day for the Raw Tag Team titles now. Strong start by the challengers. An alley-oop famouser looked really cool. Kofi gets a shoe-in for ages, gets the hot tag to Xavier Woods, and Xavier looks fantastic when he gets in there. On a roll, rolling clothesline, bam, nailed it. Beautiful sort of hip attack, baseball slide double combo by Xavier Woods as well. Springboard DDT, military press from Xavier Woods, and one of my favourite bits, after a pin that only got a 2, a lovely smile from Xavier. You can tell how flippin' happy he is to be back in the ring. Ziggler and Roode fight back, but the champs persevere. Kofi wipes out Ziggler outside the ring when he tries to run interception, and in the ring, Bobby Roode eats the midnight hour for the 1, 2, 3. New Day retaining their Raw Tag Team titles. And it's a B+ for me. Really good battle for the belts, and just Xavier Woods looked crisp and fresh and happy to be there. I loved it. You love to see it. Cedric Alexander and Ricochet up next. Ricochet set this one earlier on tonight. He approached the Hurt Business and said, look, if I beat one of your guys tonight, then we're done. Hurt Business, leave me alone. If I lose, I will join the Hurt Business. And Cedric Alexander has stepped up to have this match. A scrappy one to start, with Cedi pulling out all those new heel moves that he's added to his moveset since becoming a bad guy. Sort of slows the pace down quite a bit in this one. He ends up cutting off Ricochet on quite a few occasions. Ricochet ends up pushing back into it, but Cedric knows him too well, you see. Ricochet goes for the 630, and Cedric's able to avoid it and lands a Michinoku driver. But it's in a weird spot. Sort of as Cedric comes down, apparently he lands on the referee, but the ref still counts. But as soon as the ref finishes his count, the ref is just like his energy bar suddenly depletes, and the referee is out. MVP tries to get a chair to Cedric. Ricochet grabs it, and it looks like Ricochet is going to take Cedric Alexander's head off with the steel chair. And then he stops as he sees the referee coming to. He bangs the chair on the apron, throws the chair to Cedric, and then plays dead. So when the ref comes to, he's heard the noise, he sees Cedric holding a chair, and he disqualifies Cedric Alexander. Ricochet wins by DQ, and thank goodness the referee has never seen Cheating Death, Stealing Life, the Eddie Guerrero story, because he'd have seen that coming a mile off otherwise. It's a B. I liked this grudge match. It wasn't the best these two have ever had. Like, Cedric has slowed his style down substantially as a bad guy, which is the right thing to do. I think he's still finding his groove with the moves that he does. And Ricochet getting a moral win to kind of draw a line under the Hurt Business stuff. I'm happy to see a line drawn under it now, because as we've said on previous Raw Graded, it's like, that's just gone on far too long. Let's see Ricochet do other things. Let's see the Hurt Business crack on with other things. No sign of Mustafa Ali during this segment, or any segment tonight, actually, which was a shame. I feel like tonight you could have had Ali come out and cut that promo of a lifetime and say that he was the one that founded Retribution because he was shut out, and, you know, he could have claimed ownership of the SmackDown hacker stuff, and kind of hoped we'd get that tonight, but we didn't. I mean, we could still get it next week. You don't know. The 532nd round of the draft, and it's Titus O'Neil, Peyton Royce, and Akira Tozawa heading to Raw, and Carmella and Alistair Black heading to SmackDown. I mean, no disrespect to any of those guys, but what an underwhelming final round of the draft on television. You could have had a heavy hitter, like at the very end, couldn't you? Maybe? I don't know. The draft continues on Raw Talk, so I guess they're pushing people to go and watch Raw Talk. And so the main event now, it's Raw and SmackDown combined for an inter-brand battle royal. The winner facing Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax take centre stage in this one, with Nia Jax starting out pretty strong, chucking out her mate Tamina. Heartbroken. That disabled the Tamina train. Love you, Ross. We then see Nia Jax just dominating multiple other wrestlers in this one before the whole of the Battle Royal turns on Nia Jax. And it's Shayna Baszler that throws Nia Jax out of the ring. To the shock of Nia Jax, she takes out her frustration on Lana, who gets out of the ring to attack Nia Jax, only to be put through the announce table. Thanks for coming. The match boils down to Natalya and Lacey Evans. They have a great exchange as they get towards the finish. On the apron, they're going back and forth with moves. We see Natalya hanging on, skinning the cat at one point with, and it looked like that's a move you could have buggered up if you weren't careful. It looked really great. And they go back and forth on the apron. We see Lacey Evans go for a Hurricane Rana on Natalya, but Natalya holds her on the apron. It's just a brave move to do. Turns it into a pendulum swing, clatters Lacey in the head on the post, and Lacey falls to the ground. And Natalya has won the Battle Royal, or has she? Well, no, because here's Lana from behind, boof, knocks Natalya off the apron. Lana was never eliminated. She's back from the announce table demise, and she's won the Battle Royal. Lana is the #1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship. If you had Lana, then you probably won a lot of money from the bookies, because I couldn't have called that. It's like, what a strange night. What a strange way to kind of build this show around the heartbreak and triumph of Lana. That's very peculiar. But hey, look, we ain't got time to think about that now, because here comes Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. During the Battle Royal, we cut backstage where they were fighting, and they continue that fight at the end of Raw. They fight all the way through the Thunderdome until a load of officials and refs split them up, and the last shot we see is just Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre being held back, foaming at the mouth, wanting to kill each other. It's a cool spot. I'm giving the Battle Royal a B-. It was a very humdrum Battle Royal, propped up by Nia Jax shenanigans, by Bianca Belair eliminating Shayna Baszler. That's a nice boost for Bianca Belair. And the sequence at the end with Natalya and Lacey Evans on the ring apron. I thought that was a really cool ending. As for Lana winning, I am the confused. But we end Raw anyway, not with the Battle Royal, but with Orton and Drew looking to batter each other. And overall, I'm going to give Raw a B- this week. I thought that the Miz and Morrison stuff could have been better. That kind of dragged the grade down a bit. I love Miz and Morrison. This just felt a bit painfully scripted, and I hope that we get out of that funk. Triple threat match was excellent, and everything else was very good. It wasn't a terrible episode of Raw. Season premiere next week. Keith Lee and Braun Strowman are going to batter one another, and it's Asuka versus Lana. If If I end up giving that an A, I'm going to eat a hat. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.